Okay, in this video we're going to see how to put on your t-shirt transfer, and what you'll need is a light colored shirt for your transfer that's clean, doesn't have any stuff on it. You'll need your transfer sheet, which your instructor should print out for you because your computer will not print out to the correct printer. We need to use an inkjet printer for these transfers, and these transfers are only good for light colored shirts. There's other types that are good for dark colored shirts, but the ones we're using are only good for the light colored shirts, like the one I'm going to use. So if you notice, this transfer is backwards because when we put the sheet down it's going to be upside down, because on the back side there's a paper backing that's slightly blue in color that will peel off after we iron on this transfer. So before you get started, you'll want to have that transfer printed out, and you'll want your heat press turned on. So you'll want to turn on the heat press right here at this switch. You'll push that to the right, and you'll set this dial here to 400 degrees. There's a thermometer right here that will gradually increase as the heat press heats up. You're looking to get the heat press at about 400 degrees. Our heat press is already heated up, so what we're going to do is we're going to move our heat press over to the right side here, swing it out of the way, and there's a orange brownish looking foam pad that our shirt will go on. And if you're going to do more than one side of your shirt, start with the front and work from front to back, and then if anything goes on the sleeves, we'll do that last, without pulling off the paper backing in between parts. What we want to do first is place our shirt down here on this foam pad, and we want to make sure it's perfectly flat, because when we put the transfer down, if it's not perfectly flat, it's not going to go on the shirt correctly and we're going to have wrinkles. What you'll want to do is take the heat press and pull down on the handle and push the heat press down real quickly onto the shirt. And that's going to get it perfectly flat up against that piece of foam. And once it's cooled down a few seconds, then you'll take your transfer sheet, and it should have that blue paper backing on it facing up. And if it's kind of hard to see your design through the paper, you'll want to hold it up to the light. You can kind of see it through here, and it is going the correct way, because when you lay these sheets down, you want to make sure your words or shapes, pictures, are going the correct way. So you can hold the sheet up to the light to make sure everything is reading the correct way. So we'll put paper side up right where we want to put the design, and underneath the machine there's some brown paper, and you cover this with brown paper because the heat press is very hot. It'll scorch or burn the shirt. It'll make it brown. So by putting this paper in between the shirt and the heat press, it protects it from being burned. We'll swing our heat press back around, and now we'll set this timer for 30 seconds. And all you should have to do is press the start-stop button once, and it'll automatically go to 30 seconds. Use both hands on the handle and press down, and put some pressure down on the handle to push down and lock the handle in place. And then press the start-stop button and wait for 30 seconds until the timer beeps. Now what this does is put pressure on that heat transfer, and it heats up that transfer and it makes it adhere to the shirt. It actually sort of makes it melt. And in that process of it being pushed, it goes into the fibers of the shirt. Once it's done, we'll turn off the timer, and we'll lift up the handle here, and we'll swing this back around. We'll take off our paper and set that aside, and then quickly get one of the corners of the transfer and pull it back. And if it doesn't look like it's sticking to the shirt, we may need to put it on for a little bit longer, like this is doing. If your shirt is brand new, they coat it with chemicals, starch, which keeps the shirt from wrinkling while it's being shipped. And so that can sometimes keep the transfer from going on your shirt. So sometimes we just have to leave it on a little longer to get that transfer to adhere. And sometimes if the pressure is not great enough on the heat press, it won't push down enough, and it won't make that transfer go down onto the shirt. It's got to push down. So I'm going to wait a little bit longer. It's not going to hurt it if we wait a little longer because we have this piece of paper here that's protecting the shirt. We don't want to leave it on too long because eventually we'll start to burn things, so we got to watch our time. Okay. Now this transfer I've had has been sitting for a while, so it's not going to go on quite as nice as we want because this should actually all come off onto the shirt. And I think this shirt might have a coating on it, so it's not going to work quite as well. So that's why you want to keep the shirt clean. So before you bring it in and use it, it should be clean. That's why we don't use a dirty shirt. But this transfer should actually come off on the shirt and show up a lot better than this. So if you see this, you may need just to put the transfer back down, or we may need to make sure you wash the shirt first. So we'll just imagine that this came off like it should. So we should see a real dark black and real dark red where the transfer should go down. Otherwise, if everything works unlike this, you should get a shirt that works. You want to wash the shirt in cold water by itself, no bleach, and dry it on low heat. And once you're finished with the heat press, you'll want to make sure you turn the power off. By flipping the switch, you shouldn't see any red on the switch, and make sure you turn this dial down all the way to the left to make sure that the heat press is off, because we don't want to leave this on. It'll wear out the machine a lot quicker if it's left heated for a long amount of time without being used.